Mr. Beardsley?
Mr. Beardsley? Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of the MST3K review, guys. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Donnie.
And today we're going to be reviewing the 1976 film Squirm.
But before we get into that, we're just going to talk for a brief moment about the short that accompanied it.
A Case of Spring Fever.
So basically the short is about a guy wishing that all of the springs in the world have gone away.
Yeah, I can't remember if he's working on a truck or he's working on a couch, but
It's his couch.
Oh, it's his couch, and he's so frustrated by the springs, and so this humanoid anthropomorphic spring comes to life, and he basically turns into the ghost of Christmas past and like forces this guy to envision a world without springs. But this apparently it was produced, I'm assuming, by a company that makes springs.
Yeah, his name is Coily, but instead of like the ghost of Christmas past, is more of just an asshole. He just kind of everything he does, he just messes with the guy. He just like takes away his springs from the stuff that he
like the door to his truck or his glove box, and the door. So he's basically just screws over this guy at every turn he can.
And then about halfway through, the guy realizes the error of his ways. You'd think that's where the episode would end, is him being like, yes, let's go with Springs. But then it just becomes like a national propaganda about the Spring Corporation to all his friends.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. So if you are going to watch the film Squirm, do not at all skip through the short. The short is definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. It has some pretty good lines. I'll just give you one of my favorites real quick. Where does Coily fit into God's plan?
Yeah.
Where does Coily fit into God's plan for us?
So, there's a lot of... It's one of those pretty solid shorts. Maybe later, one day, we'll give a full-length review of it, let you know some more details on it, but...
Yeah, and let's dive right into the film Squirm.
All right, let's now get into what everyone came here for. Let's talk about Squirm.
Yeah, it's a doozy, no doubt about that.
Yeah, the film has an interesting premise.
Basically, it takes place in 1975 in a small town in Georgia. Apparently, a storm knocks down some power lines, which the electricity got into the damp muddy ground, and that like mutated worms and turned them into human killers or something. It wasn't really clear to me. I don't know about you.
I mean, I've seen enough superhero movies and comic books in my time. I've heard of things happening, but electrical power storm taking out worms and just monsters. That's gonna be a new one for me.
It was 1976, so this they should have had higher standards by then. But anyways, so we're introduced to the main characters. It's this guy named Mick. He's this redheaded kind of dweeby guy, and he's coming down from New York, so he's kind of like a city slicker. He sticks out like a sore thumb in this like backwoods Georgia town. And he's coming down to meet his girlfriend. I believe her name is Jerry. And they met at an antique shop in New York, but I don't think they show that. That's just like backstory.
Yeah, it's just to show why this guy's randomly coming down from New York. First of all, this whole setup is kind of weird. Like antique shop, instant romance. These kids are supposed to be in like their early 20s.
You don't know, Donnie. That's the place for singles. Antique shops.
I know. I must have done it wrong.
Anyways, so he comes down to Georgia on a bus, because that's a fun bus ride. And because of the storm, I think a tree gets knocked down or something, and he basically just gets kicked off the bus, and then he's just kind of wandering in the woods the rest of the way.
Yeah, and then so Jerry, she's at her house. She goes out. She knows that Mick's on his way. She goes to go find him because she's I actually think they do bring up that they're a little worried about the storm and everything. The road might be blocked or something. So she goes out to find him. She takes her neighbor Roger's truck. Instantly, when you meet Roger, dude is just like, he wants Jerry. You can tell right off the bat.
In a very Appalachian cousin kind of way.
Yeah, it's just, right off the bat, you're just like, okay, this is going to be an interesting love triangle.
Yeah, so anyways, Jerry goes and picks up Mick. She eventually finds them. And then I think her and Mick, they go to her house where her mother and her sister live. And then the mom sends them into town to get a block of ice, because apparently this was like 1914 or some shit.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I guess they needed a block of ice. And that's where that's where Mick, he decides to go into a diner.
Yeah, and so he goes to this diner. He goes up to the front, or he goes up to the
diner
table,
counter.
the diner counter, and he orders an egg cream,
which I had never heard of. Like I thought he was pronouncing some kind of French like cream, but it's an egg cream.
Yeah, and so he goes out there, he gets it. Even the bartenders or the server's a little confused.
She never heard of it.
Yeah,
and neither have I until I looked it up on Wikipedia, and it's exactly what he says it is. It's basically chocolate milk with Hershey syrup and carbonated water, which sounds awful, even though I like chocolate milk.
Yeah, so he gets it. He starts drinking. Huge plot development here. Worm in the drink.
Some serious foreboding in the writing industry, as they call it.
Yeah, I mean this is writing at its finest. So he complains.
I think he drops his drink and spills it everywhere because there's a huge ass worm in there.
He starts complaining. The lady at the counter thinks he's basically full of shit. And then
his commotion draws the attention of this like super hillbilly sheriff who doesn't trust him because he's from New York. He's like, I don't want to see you making around trouble here, boy.
Yeah, and so he eventually just he leaves. He goes on his way back. They start. I think next is.
So after that, Jerry and Mick decide to see an antiques dealer because the antiques is their thing.
You know how much they love those antiques.
And the who would be the name of the antiques dealer they're searching for?
Your victims are here.
I don't know. I don't know if they mentioned it that much during the movie. I feel like it might be
Mr. Beardsley?
I think Mr. Beardsley is the name of the man. Obviously, they say this guy's name probably upwards of 20 times in this movie.
Yeah, this becomes one of the quintessential reoccurring riffs that you'll see in all of MST3K films. It's classic because whenever they show this dweeby looking Mick guy like searching around or asking for somebody, they insert
Mr. Beardsley? Mr. Beardsley. Just every time, and just these kids clearly don't know what they're doing.
But so they're searching and they can't find Mr. Beardsley, but they're searching around his property and they find a skeleton, and they're like, it's like ooh, but then they go and get that same hillbilly sheriff who doesn't trust them. Yeah, and so they get the sheriff and they bring him back, and wouldn't you guess?
The skeleton's gone.
Oh, like classic. And then so the sheriff gives him another warning, like, you're pushing your luck, boy, or something.
He gives him that same classic sheriff line, I better not see you again.
Yeah, just a staple of 1970s cinema.
It kind of becomes that guy's catchphrase during the film.
Yeah. So then some other shit happens, but eventually Mick and Jerry go fishing out on the water with Roger,
who is the hillbilly neighbor. I don't know if we ever said his name in the beginning.
Oh yeah, that was Roger. He was the hillbilly who lent his truck, and I think him and his father are worm farmers. Wouldn't you know?
I mean, can you believe the coincidences lining up in this film, Joseph?
Yeah, and so if I recall, at some point Mick gets off the boat and goes to do his own thing, but then Roger and...
So he gets off the boat because he gets bit by a worm.
Oh, okay.
And so he's like, I'm going to go sneak out and be sneaky and go do some shit that he doesn't really seem like he's having a purpose even when he's doing it. I think he does say what he's doing, but he gets lost in the woods again. That seems to be Roger or Mick's motif this whole film.
Yeah. And then back on the boat, is there some sort of struggle between Roger and Jerry where they get tipped over or something, or they end up in the water. I think at some point Roger, his whole face gets covered with worms, and they like start burrowing into his skin and taking over him.
So it starts because basically Mick, the classy New York gentleman that he is, tells Jerry to kind of slut it up with Roger because he clearly has a thing for her, and so Roger, obviously having a thing for her, gets the wrong idea and starts making moves on her, and then Jerry, I think, kicks him back into the water.
Oh, that's right.
Or something to that effect. So basically he attempts to sexually assault her, and she fights back. So, I mean, I guess there's one redeeming thing about this film.
Yeah, and so then some point after that, I think Mick, and I can't remember if it's with Jerry or Jerry's sister, but at some point they're reunited with the skull of Mr. Beardsley.
It's in the back of Roger's dad's truck.
Oh, okay. And so they rip off his, I think her name's Alma. They rip off hit Mr. Beardsley's skull, and then because he's like
so it's actually Roger
he's a forensic odontologist apparently. He breaks into a dentist's office and looks at dental x-ray records and himself makes the confirmation that it is Mr.
Listen, Joseph,
Beardsley.
this is what happens when you're from New York in the 70s. You are, in fact, the smartest man alive.
You can just do forensic science right out of your ass.
Exactly. So they discover it is Mr. Beardsley. They go to I think they go to the sheriff again. He still thinks they're full of shit.
Yeah, I think he thinks they're just hoodlums or whatnot. And then I think some more, I forget exactly what happens, but the main climax of the film is that I think they like the inside the house with the where the mom lives. It's a whole subplot. The mom's like slowly going crazy and like talking to herself. I can't remember. But like there's worms coming out of the faucets and the shower, and so it's
there's worms coming out of everywhere.
Yeah. And it's basically leading to this big climax. I think Mick, does he get into a fight with Roger or something? Yeah. He ends up unconscious, or he ends up in a tree.
Yeah, he ends up in a ditch.
Oh, he ends up in a ditch.
Yeah, and he ends up with his shirt off. Ladies, I know you're going to be super impressed by this.
Yeah, he's quite the hunk, as they say. But then after he wakes up,
you're a fan of wet spaghetti.
Yeah. I think he eventually wakes up and he's able to deduce that the light or the fire is how you defeat the worms or scare them off.
Yeah.
And so he like lights a torch, I think, and then he like set a whole house ablaze, like, or burns a tree.
I think he burns the tree. But him and Jerry, how they survive through the night, if you recall, Joseph, is they climb up in the tree, both half naked.
That's right.
Also, a little thing real quick. Right before that, you see Alma. I think you said was her name, the younger sister. You think she's dead. Surprise twist, guys. She's alive. She was just hiding.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of ends. So I don't.
Yeah,
they
wake up in the tree.
Yeah, and then there's someone calling out to them.
Yeah, and then it's the morning, and the worms are gone.
And they don't actually kill any of the worms. They just
drive them away with the sunlight.
Yeah,
and the fire.
So apparently, this is what happens to the worms. So
that was the Mystery Science Theater of the worms. But so from a Mystery Science Theater riffing standpoint, Donnie, what would you say are some of your favorite lines?
So there is a line in it, and I distinctly remember because with this one we actually watched together.
Yeah.
When we watched this one. So what I distinctly remember our favorite lines that made us both laugh pretty hard at it was Mick and Jerry are like sneaking around somewhere. They're just trying to get through somewhere, and then all this. I don't remember if it's Crow, Servo, or it was Mike, right?
This is a Mike film.
Yeah,
this was
it was the second to last episode. One of them lets out, "I have my pocket knife ready, so you're safe."
I have my pocket knife with me, so you're safe.
And obviously referring to Mick. Obviously
he's the antithesis of like masculinity.
And so like just he's him thinking a pocket knife would keep him safe is exactly what you expect out of that guy. And another one real quick, just that we did, like they do reference. So in the Case of Spring Fever, there's a recurring no springs joke. And
Mr. Coily or whatever. Whenever the guy in the short, something doesn't work because it doesn't have a spring, the guy goes, "No spring."
And so in this in the actual Squirm episode, something doesn't work, and you hear I think it was actually Crow who did it actually. Go, "No springs."
Yeah, that was a classic callback. Yeah. For me, there was a lot of good riffing, but I'm a sucker for a good, simple, recurring joke, and the frequent, as we talked about before, the frequent Mr. Beardsley, Mr. Beardsley.
Mr. Beardsley?
Those were just, I thought they were all on the right point and just all hilarious. They kind of remind, if you ever see The Final Sacrifice, how they go, Ralstower.
Yeah, it's always just like everyone, even though they're going to do the recurring joke in it, everyone still hits you hard and makes you laugh.
Yeah, and so that was Squirm. It was just a very good, solid Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode. As you may know, we like to evaluate MST3K episodes using our 3-tiered rating system. How would you rate this one, Donnie?
So for me personally, this one is a solid 2nd tier. It has good jokes, good riffs. The movie, while obviously incredibly stupid, is still enjoyable because it is kind of dumb and silly and everything.
And the movie itself is certainly better than like a Manos the Hands of Fate. It wasn't totally inept.
Yeah.
Although as a horror movie, it wasn't all that scary.
Yeah. So in between that and the jokes, it made it certainly watchable, certainly likable.
Certainly one that you would recommend.
Yeah, it may not be that instant one, like when someone comes up to you, what's your favorite episode? You're not going to say this one probably, but if you say, what's a good episode for me to watch that I haven't seen yet, Squirm is definitely a good way to go.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. This is almost a textbook definition of a 2nd tier. So we're going to give this one a 2nd tier. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. If you like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button, share it with your friends and family, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button.
Also, if you did end up hitting that thumbs down button, let us know why. Let us know what we can do better for you. Let us know what you want to see next time in the comments below. Just so you know, next episode we're going to do is going to be Puma Man for you.
Puma Man, yes.
It's one that Joseph and I have both seen several times. We love it. So we're really excited to do that one for you.
Yep, thanks for watching. Catch you next time. I'm Joseph.
I'm Donnie.
And this has been the MST3K Review, guys.